It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming. I'm Wendy Corr, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily newsroom for Thursday, May 23rd. The out-of-state man who was mauled by a mother grizzly in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park on Sunday apparently had a phenomenal stroke of luck when the apex predator essentially bear sprayed itself. Park Service officials told Outdoors reporter Mark Hines that the 35-year-old Massachusetts man did everything right, including pulling out his readily available can of bear spray when he rounded a corner and came face to face with a bear cub and its protective mama.
So he did what you're supposed to do. He got down flat on his belly, put his, interlaced his fingers behind the back of his neck, exactly what you're supposed to do. The bear spray was apparently still hooked to one of his fingers, and the bear got to biting him, and at some point she bit into that can of bear spray, and cans burst in her face, and she and the cub took off. I did talk to a couple, pretty hardcore outdoor people who spend a lot of time in grizzly country. They said that's a new one. We've never heard of an attack being stopped by a bear spraying itself.
The man, who was not identified by the Park Service, was released from the hospital Monday and is expected to recover fully from his injuries. The largest solar power project in Wyoming, a $1.2 billion, 1.2 million panel farm, was given the green light Tuesday to start building. Cowboy State Daily's Pat Mayo reports that the 771 megawatt solar farm will be built by Canadian energy giant Enbridge and will supply electricity to data centers, which will be built in South Cheyenne.
Yeah, Enbridge has gotten the green light on construction. I mean, it still has these little minor ones that it has to deal with, like I think the air permit, which is usually pretty easy for a solar farm, but the construction permit is huge, and it's going to be a huge bill that they're going to have to pay to build this. But, they have big customers, Meta and Microsoft.
The solar power facility will generate enough electricity to light up more than 771,000 homes, more than in all of Wyoming. A Gillette atheist who lost a lawsuit over prayers before public meetings is now suing to put the Atheist 21 rules alongside a 10 Commandments monument in a local park. Bruce Williams and the Hippatian Society, which is a religious or charitable church which he co-founded, they're also demanding about $240 million in damages in a federal lawsuit filed Monday in the U.S. District Court for Wyoming. That's according to Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland.
In his past state-level lawsuit, Williams was complaining that he doesn't get a proportionate number of invocations at public meetings in Gillette. But he added a new complaint saying, you guys have this 10 Commandments monument in City Park, and it frustrates me. I believe the word was infuriates that Williams doesn't get to put up his 21 rules associated with his atheist organization he co-founded, he calls a church.
Williams lost his prior state-level lawsuit and appeal against city officials, which presented other but similar complaints because the city has sovereign immunity from being sued on his claims. 16 members of the Wyoming Freedom Caucus believe Wyoming has to make a swift, decisive response in fighting a new BLM rule issued last week that would end coal production in Wyoming's energy-rich Powder River Basin by 2041. The Freedom Caucus describes the new BLM rule as part of, quote, the Biden administration's anti-American, anti-energy climate crisis agenda, end quote. That's according to politics reporter Leo Wolfson.
They believed he waited too long with a prior coal dispute involving a port in Washington that the Wyoming was going to try to use for its coal production. The state of Washington blocked this at the time, and it resulted in an eventual lawsuit, but that lawsuit was eventually rejected in 2021 by the U.S. Supreme Court, likely because it had been filed too late.
Governor Gordon, who did speak vehemently against the coal rule when it was announced last week, has already said he's having Attorney General Bridget Hill pursue legal options to challenge it. And when the Hogs for Hope motorcycle rally rolls into Green River on Saturday in honor of a wolf that was tortured and killed in Daniel, it will be warmly welcomed at the local Harley-Davidson dealership, which is sponsoring an opening event that afternoon. The rally and associated fundraiser is being organized by social media influencer and dog trainer Jonas Black, and Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports that they're expecting quite a crowd.
sounds as if, just judging by the social media chatter, and it's probably going to be quite a large crowd. Mr. Blackett says anybody, any vehicle is welcome to join at any point during the journey. Also spoke with the Sublette County Sheriff's Office and the Wyoming Highway Patrol. They're not anticipating any trouble. This group has advertised itself as a peaceful gathering. Law enforcement says, okay, well, we hope you stay peaceful, just in case there will be an added law enforcement presence there. Just because there's a lot of emotions around this, so just in case.
The GoFundMe campaign for the Hogs for Hope rally has already raised $100,000 for wildlife conservation. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the subscribe button on cowboystatedaily.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.